Hi everyone, I'm here because I want to talk about All Is Not Forgotten. I just finished reading it and I've already had to return it to the library, so that's why I don't even have a physical copy with me. It's written by Wendy Walker and it was just released in July of this year, 2016. And it is a psychological thriller with a huge emphasis on psychological because the main person, the person narrating it, is a psychiatrist. Now, this is a pretty tough book in that it deals with rape, and it is pretty brutal. And one of the things that you're dealing with is that this young lady was given some form of drug which actually was meant to get rid of the memories of the rape, so that the idea being that she could recover from it quicker. The entire book is her trying to recover that memory. And at some point she is successful. So not only do we hear about the rape at the very beginning, we also then relive it later on. So it is an active part of the plot and the plot's development. So it isn't just a one-time thing and then you move on. This is in a very small town in Connecticut. All the characters very tight-knit. Somehow they're all connected, which you always have in those lovely mysteries and thrillers. What I liked about this book a great deal was I learned a lot. In addition to what I already do as a profession, it's not memories, but for me it's accessing language, and the way that we learn language and use language is very similar to how also memories are obtained and therefore accessed and then retrieved. And so you learn a lot about that in this book because that's the whole idea. And the person doing this is the psychiatrist that is treating, and ethically I have some issues, but he's treating the entire family and a couple other characters as well that are involved in the story. At first when I was reading the book, I felt like there was some foreshadowing, and I was like, why is he doing this? And then it dawned on me that in order to make this move along, you need to be learning these things, and you need to be aware of where you're going next. And I thought it was pretty effective. I don't want to give any spoilers away, and I have to be very careful here because any examples I give of things would be a spoiler. But one of the things that I will prepare you for is not only is, of course, the subject very difficult, but this narrator, oh my goodness, you're not going to like him. He is an arrogant, pompous, wow. And this is the point of view you're getting, and this is the psychiatrist. So the psychiatrist is the one who's telling you this story. And there are many, many times that I feel like he feels like, oh, I've got to explain this to you, don't I? Okay. And I already alluded that I think there's some ethical issues going on here, I felt like I was a psychiatrist peer of his, though he would have thought of me as a very subpar peer, that he was required by some ethics board to go and talk to about this case. That is how I felt. And oh my gosh, oh, I mean, he refers to himself at points as a puppet master even. Some of his views and beliefs towards his wife will just, as a woman reading it, will send you cringing. And when I was about a little over halfway through, I actually went, oh my gosh, maybe I don't like this book. And there was parts of me that wasn't liking the book, but then it dawned on me, no, I don't like the narrator, okay? And I know that I went out and I've looked at some other reviews once I finished reading, and people hated the book because of the narrator. And you should read some of them. If you get a chance, go to Goodreads. There's some humdingers out there about how much they hate this narrator. This is exactly, as a reader, what I always want. I want a writer to write characters that elicit emotions in me. And my emotions towards this character, I thought of him as a real person and I wanted to strangle him. I suddenly realized that's what I was loving about the book. I was emotionally engaged with this lead main character, and he's the one telling the story. You also learn about PTSD as it relates not only with the individual that was raped, but also with an individual who's come back from overseas from war. I had to keep checking that the author was not a psychiatrist. I really thought perhaps she was. She isn't, but she obviously has done her homework, and she does talk about that at the end of the book, and I applaud that. Again, the drug that she's talking about is not real. The science going towards it is trying to be, but it also highlights where the real negativity of that is. And I would talk about that more, but again, I think you should discover that yourself. I do suggest go out and read this book. This one I can't recommend to everybody because the subject matter is pretty tough, and I can't say that I would go back and reread it. And a lot of mysteries and thrillers have this difficulty for me because if I know the end result and where we end up, especially in this book, I don't think it's something that I need to reread again. I hope you get a chance. It's a good read. It's a quick read, and it's her debut novel in this type, in a psychological thriller, and I think she did a really great job. And I'll be looking for more from Wendy Walker. Thanks.